McCrory was shot dead. I think it was 1991. He was shot dead. It was collusion from the police of the British Army. He was one of the leaders of the IPLO, and he was shot dead. He was holding his child when he was shot dead by loyalists.
I heard I think in Johnny Adair's book, or one of the books about Johnny
They
Adair,
were bitter enemies.
was a claim that they at one stage they were both sleeping with the same woman, actually.
Absolutely, yes. That's in Hugh Jordan's book, Mad Dog. He used to torment them. Johnny Adair's girlfriend used to torment him that she's seeing Ruko pray behind his back. And Johnny used to send Johnny mad. He was insanely jealous. Yeah. That's in Hugh Jordan's book, David Lister's book, Mad Dog.
I interviewed Adair a couple of months ago, and that book was one of the sources of research. He hates that book. He passionately hates that book.
That's the truth. That he was a failed gunman. That the only person he ever shot was that mentally ill young lad who was only 18, 20, who had the mental age of a 9-year-old, and Johnny Adair shot him dead for no other reason than, the wee lad told the police information, but the wee lad would have told you, and the wee lad was very vulnerable. A vulnerable child, basically a man-child. And Johnny Adair, dressed in black, made a big thing, wanted to frighten his gang, and he shot the poor young lad dead. It was evil. And he'd pay that price one day, because he's got to meet his maker. So that was the only person that Johnny Adair ever shot dead. The other guys in the gang, you had McCrory. You had the big muscle man who owned the pet shop. He just died there last year. You had him, and you had I just can't think of their names. They were all the killers. They done all the shooting. But Johnny was good at planning and getting rid of weapons, cleaning up and stuff like that after a murder. Apparently, going by the book, he was brilliant at doing that. But he was a failed gunman. The only man he ever shot dead was that mentally fella.
Speaking of Johnny Adair, you said that living in Ardoyne in the late 80s, early 90s, you were kind of terrified. You were terrorized by C-Company.
Yeah, he was the bogeyman. There was sightings of him, and he would wear a Celtic top. There was many sightings of him, and yeah, he tried to blow up well-known Republican Eddie Copeland at Eddie's house in Labrook. But yeah, he was audacious. He was, he brought the word to the IRA. But having said that, as I said earlier, I mean, many IRA people did the kill. Very, very, very few. And many innocent people did the kill. Loads. For no other reason than they were a Catholic and an easy target.
Okay, so like you'd have known the name at the time, Johnny Adair, and so would you know like who Sam McCrory and the other kind of head?
Yeah. Did you see? I'll come back to that. Did you see the video footage of Johnny punching the bag on social media
from like 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah,
the bag won on points. He's ridiculous. If he thinks he's a hard man, I've had bigger chips than Johnny Adair. I threw bigger out of a fight to get into a fight than Johnny Adair. He's certainly no hard man. But what was that question again? Skelly. Oh, yes, I was aware of Skelly, yes. And Johnny Adair, we seen them on quite a few occasions. We had a bus stop nearly, we run into them. One night we were coming home from the boxing, which was at the Grosvenor Leisure Centre. And we bumped into him in Wellington Place. What did you call that bar? It was a chip shop. They were all hanging around it. And we were 4 out of the 5 of us walking home that night were mods. We had our parkers on and all that. So we bumped into them. What did you call that place? Oh, my goodness. It'll come to me. But they followed us. And one of them had 3 battles and he was clicking them, not just like the film The Warriors. And they were walking behind us and we knew we were in big, big trouble. But I shouted run and we run. But it was Johnny Adair and Skelly and a few others. And the fitness we had as boxers won the day because we were too fast for them. Lord Hamil's, you call that place. Got it. Lord Hamil's. So we're standing around Lord Hamil's when we walked into them. And then coming back from the boxing that night at the Grosvenor, the very next night we were walking back again, but we took a different route. And this time we walked into Catholics at the Unity Flats, and they were going to fight with us because they thought we were Protestants. It was just like that film, The Warriors. We had to bop our way back the Ardoyne, and I knocked one of them out that night. A fella called Doxey. He was taking a stud belt off. They were going to get into us. One of them hit one of our crowd in the back of the head with a stone, and we went back to them. But they thought we were prods. And anyway, I knocked the guy Doxey out, and I says, "Run," and we run. And then I realised, because the army observation post was all cheering us, thinking we were from Carlisle Circus, from the Protestant area. So I shouted up the Ardoyne mods to let them know we're Catholics.
You might have said it, but this run-in with Adair and his crew, what year would this have been?
It would have been around about March 1982, and I'm not too far away from.
Okay. So I God, it's been a while since I've done the research on him, but he wasn't. Was he any kind of like UFF or leader at the time? I think it was more the later 80s with him.
Hooligans were glue sniffers, but they were still known to us. We still knew their faces. And later on, I seen Skelly one time by Carlisle Circus. Known at ATM. He must have been getting money out, but he had a big ghetto blaster and it was blasting the sash and other Protestant. But he was being very provocative because there was nobody else around. And I says, that's weird. Why is he on his own, sort of getting into a Catholic area? It's not too far, although he wasn't too far from home. But at the same time, probably what you would call a mixed area. And he was being belligerent, provocative. And I watched him. But he was, was he trying to lure some of us into a trap? But Skelly was another header, an absolute header. These guys were crazy. They were headers. Yeah.
He was.
And they were just thugs and hoods and glue sniffers in their own area. Yeah. And Fat Jackie Thompson. Some of their names are coming back to me now. And what did you call the other guy? The older guy who lived right beside Johnny Adair. He was in charge of them all. But Johnny really ruled the roost. Just can't get the guy's name.